Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is TA Tuesday, so that means we are going to go over some chart formations, patterns, and channels, ascending, descending triangles, that sort of stuff. But first, I want to go into some news that I pulled up, and today is a pretty big news day. The first big one being Tim Cook is confirming to either owning Bitcoin or Ethereum. I don't think he specifies whether or not it's Bitcoin or Ethereum. I know he did mention that Apple has not put cryptocurrency on its balance sheet, which makes sense in terms of shareholders for Apple. I feel like it'd be too much of a speculative drop for a company like Apple to put that on their balance sheet. Obviously, Tim Cook is no Elon Musk here. So taking his shareholders in his mind, making sure that he's making the best opportunity choice. And right now, Bitcoin is fairly extended. So probably a bad time to put things on balance sheets right now. Obviously, they had their chance in the downtrend, but they didn't quite capitalize. But that's okay. With a fairly big company like Apple, Tim Cook has done amazing things for the company as soon as he took over. And so far, Apple's share price has gone through the roof throughout the pandemic and onwards, because more innovations are coming through with Apple. We have things like the Apple Car to look forward to in the future. So definitely big things happening with Apple. So it's good to see Tim Cook at least getting on the bandwagon for Bitcoin or Ethereum. Cardano has inched up above our kind of anemic price that we had, spiking up about 17%. We do see that here getting up to $2.29, almost to $2.30. We did hit $2.30 a little earlier today. Now, this is very common for Cardano. A lot of people complain that Cardano's dead or it doesn't do anything when it just goes through these weird lazy channels that doesn't really do anything until eventually it breaks out. Now we are looking to reclaim that $3 mark and then go into an all-time high. I am guessing we're probably going somewhere around the $4, $4.10 range, give or take. So that is probably the next step for Cardano. When that's going to happen, don't know. Could be in the next couple of weeks, could be next few months. Now, this is in contrast to other smart contract blockchains. We did have Solana that flipped Cardano, and it did that for a little bit, but we do see at this point, Cardano did reclaim that spot, retaking back from Solana in this spike. So definitely being able to pump up. Now, they're both doing fairly well. They're both up 17% on the week. So definitely for the smart contract blockchains, doing very well there. Now, in terms of Solana, Reddit co-founder invests $100 million in social media on Solana. So definitely this is just indicating more of a push for Solana, more of a push for these smart contract utility blockchains that are out and popping. Right now with Solana, there's a big market factor of NFTs that could come into play, where Solana could take a critical chunk of the NFT market. I firmly believe that it probably could. So I'm definitely waiting for that. And again, if you were buying Solana around when I started buying, around the $150 mark, you're doing pretty well here, and we have a definite amount of uptrend to go from here. I am thinking high end, and a lot of other analysts are agreeing with me. I am thinking high end, we could reach upwards to the $900 mark by the end of the market cycle. So again, this is an investment for social media built on Solana. In other news, in terms of XRP, Ripple to launch a cryptocurrency trading marketplace for enterprises. This is very, very important. The reason why I say this is important is exactly why I'm bullish on XRP. The reason why I'm bullish on XRP is no other cryptocurrency is catering to legacy financial markets like Ripple is with their XRP token, XRPL, making sure that there's liquidity between all these different token pairs. So with Ripple opening up a exchange for enterprises to exchange in cryptocurrencies would be incredibly powerful. Ripple is an amazing market maker in the space, and obviously they also have their OTC platforms as well. Now, they do say that the liquidity hub will initially support Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Cash, and XRP. They're also partnering with crypto ATM company CoinMe. Now, it's important to note that CoinMe is working at enabling Walmart customers to buy Bitcoin at over 200 kiosks in retailer stores, which should be incredibly huge, putting Bitcoin right in the face of the masses. So what Ripple is targeting here is solving the problems that enterprise clients have. And typically that's buying large amounts to put on balance sheets. It's a huge pain point. Even just listen to Michael Saylor going through the motions of buying Bitcoin for the first time for MicroStrategies. It was a huge pain. He had to contact a lot of OTC to kind of get the amount of Bitcoin that they needed. Now, of course, the SEC case is still a part of this. The SEC case is ongoing. We are looking at close to finality. I speculate that we'll will probably end this lawsuit in the next coming weeks to months. I hope that we don't get a settlement. Now, the reason why I don't want a settlement is because I want the SEC to declare XRP a cryptocurrency, not a security under the Howey test, which it definitely doesn't fall under. So at this point, we'll still wait, but the news is looking good for the SEC case. And with XRP, we did see this breakout over the last couple of days, finally getting up above $1.20 XRP, making it trading now at $1.26. So obviously a lot of news. We have a lot of altcoins still moving. Ethereum is at $47.50. We have Solana at $240. We still have Polkadot at around $51. Cardano at $230. Definitely a lot of movement going on within the market. And then obviously Bitcoin is sitting at a smooth $67,000. So let's go ahead and talk about channels. So we'll switch you over to the BitBuy chart. Okay, welcome back everyone to the BitBuy screen. Again, we're gonna go over some basic formations, channels, ascending, descending triangles, and wedges. One big thing is this series, TA Tuesday, is brought to you by BitBuy. So if you do want to help support out the channel and go check out the safest exchange in Canada, definitely go ahead and click on that link down in the description below. You'll get a $20 referral bonus when you sign up. I also get a bonus. And again, BitBuy has partnered with the channel to bring up the series. So I first wanted to go over the Bitcoin and Canadian chart. So this is going to look slightly different than the USD chart, so just keep that in mind really quickly. But we're going to look at descending channels really quick. So these formations work in all time frames, but we're using the daily chart here, and you can see Bitcoin kind of gradually going on a decline until finally they had a breakout. So really in a formation like this, you could see either moves to the upside or to the downside. You just need to watch what's happening in terms of the breakout. We saw that numerously we had a consistent support at our bottom line until finally we were able to have a breakout. Now, a big thing when you're looking at formations, it's important to look at the MACD and the RSI. So RSI up here, MACD down here. You see that trend reversal happening on the MACD when those two lines intersected. And you also see the RSI kind of going up from that oversold location to a much more overbought location in the breakout coming above this formation, then sparking off our new formation, which we will talk about today. Now, to give you a representation of an upwards channel, we can currently see something like that in the ETH and Canadian dollar chart. So if we take a look at that, you can also see this in the USD Ethereum chart. So it's not mutually exclusive. So obviously we see that upwards trend and we haven't really broken out of this channel yet. And I will admit this channel is pretty tight. Now we are coming up to the overbought portion on the RSI. And also it looks like we could be coming for a potential cross on our MACD. So we're not quite sure whether or not Ethereum is going to break down to the downside yet and break out of this or break up to the upside. So we just need to watch our indicators as this channel forms and see exactly what happens within this channel. Now, something like a wedge can also happen. If we take a look at, say, the Bitcoin and Ethereum chart really quick, we can kind of see that descending wedge happening here in this formation. Not quite a full channel. Obviously, we're wedging down into a price and kind of squeezing it. Then we did eventually see that breakout. Now, if we see a falling wedge like this, typically that means we are going to break out to the upside. So usually a falling wedge is a bullish signal for a bullish move to the upside. Now, something inverse to this, so if we flip this over and saw a rising wedge, we could probably say the opposite. It's most likely going to break out to the downside because again, we're wedging in that price and we're up in a high position rather than a low position. So when we're wedging in a high or a low, we could potentially see a breakout either to the upside or to the downside. So here we're wedging down. We'd see that breakout to the upside as we did. We see the chart kind of go up here. If we did see this inverse and reverse here, we would see a move to the downside, breaking down below our wedge. Now, again, these are all typical outcomes of these chart patterns. They could happen in other different ways. Now, in terms of triangles, which is also something interesting, and we're not getting into head and shoulders and all the other formations. I think that would take way too much time for what this video is going to cover. But for something like a ascending triangle or a descending triangle, now we are looking at the XRP Canadian chart, and we kind of see that drop off over at the top of our triangle trend line, and we went down, not to our full bottom, but that's okay. Doesn't need to. Typically, we did eventually hit our triangle, and now we're moving up. So we have connected here. So we'll see whether or not XRP can continue to the upside. But with an ascending triangle, once we hit the top, typically that is a bullish trend. So as long as we can stay within this formation, maybe wind up a little bit, the likelihood of XRP breaking up to the upside is actually far greater than it breaking down to the downside. Now, the opposite does come into play if you do flip this triangle over. So if you were to say flip this triangle and it be a descending triangle, then most likely it would indicate a move to the downside, right? So ascending, move to the upside, descending, move to the downside. And again, these are typical results. They're not always guaranteed. So the best thing is to always confirm any trend movements with your RSI and with your MACD to make sure you know exactly where things are going. Okay, so now that we learned more about channels, we do see that Bitcoin is in this ascending channel. Now, this is a more macro look at Bitcoin because we are looking at the daily chart, but we have been continuously moving up. Now, if you did watch Coffee and Crypto, we talked about this. We showed exactly this, what's happening. Now, this faded red line going down, it marks the last day of 2021, moving into 2022. Now, the reason why I wanted to mark that out is because a lot of people are saying that we are going to go for a market crash going into December and then ending before 2022 is when we will see the market crash, according to a lot of people. Now, I don't think that that's going to happen. I do think, however, we could potentially see something as a sell-off going into December, so potentially going up, get a December sell-off from people that are getting scared for holding Bitcoin, see a drop down to around that 60,000 mark, and then a shoot up continuation into the market. Now, we could see a peak from there, going into our 150 to 300K Bitcoin. So we just got to watch this. And again, as I discussed in the TA Tuesday portion, we got to watch this and watch our indicators, say the MACD and the RSI, to confirm any breakouts that we could potentially be having with Bitcoin. Now, I want to dispel one thing about the market cycle ending. So there's stock to flow. I'm not going to tackle stock to flow right now. Stock to flow is a totally different argument. And really, there's not much of an argument because the crux of stock to flow, I actually agree with. I have no disagreements with stock to flow. The one issue I have is people predicting where the market's going to go with Fibonacci retracements. Now, Fibonacci retracements at the end of it isn't a bad thing, right? They're useful in a lot of ways. Now, if you look at the Fibonacci retracement, you can see that we're at the extended portion, the top of the retracement, going up from the peak to the bottom, going up to the top. So we can see where people are expecting us to retrace down and break down, see where people are expecting us being at the market peak. So that is understandable. Now, if we look back at 2017 and how this crash structure happened from the last market cycle, so if we take a look here, open up another Fibonacci retracement at 2013, bring that down to our bare bone bottom, and we can see that top. We can see that top here. Bitcoin moved approximately 300% above this top here to all the way up here, approximately 300%. So we'll just get that Fibonacci out of the way so we can take a better look at that. So again, approximately 330%, give or take, from the top of that Fibonacci. Now, the reason why I show that is because when you look at here and draw another Fibonacci down from the crash of 2017, we take a look from our ultimate bottom, we stretch it out to where we are right now, we can see that we're getting up to the top. But what's to say that we can't make a similar move? Now, I'm not saying 300%, but what's to say that we can't make a 260%, making our way to a $250,000 Bitcoin, or even less, going down to the $180,000 Bitcoin, or 150. It's moved past the Fibonacci retracement before, so we can't make a determination off the Fibonacci retracement. I will say one thing about the Fibonacci retracement. The Fibonacci retracement is amazing at analyzing crashes that have happened, but it's not so great at predicting the market. Now, a lot of people would probably argue with me on that, and if you use Fibonacci's to trade with and it works out for you, great. I don't put a lot of stock in Fibonacci's myself. I rarely use them, and a lot of people are using Fibonacci's to determine whether or not the market cycle is going to go down. And I would just give a couple of disclaimers here. One, chart analysis and TA is basically astrology for men. It really, really is. All of these markets move by human emotion, and we can't determine what's going to happen. It's great in hindsight to look at something and say, yeah, it will happen like this, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly like that. We've seen traditionally it breaks above Fibonacci retracements, and we've seen traditionally other moves going against market indicators. So we just gotta keep our eye on the market and watch exactly what's happening and adjust accordingly. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't take profits. You absolutely should take profits. And we are getting close to that point where you should at least be DCAing profits out. To kind of give a representation of that, we have our Bitcoin regression bands here, and we do see that we are at the top of our regression band at this point, which is prime profit taking. Especially if you bought down here, you're obviously making a cool 100% on your Bitcoin if you bought Bitcoin at around 30K and now it's at 67K. So definitely doing very well on your investments. So definitely time to take short-term profits if you want to. Now, of course, the market can still go up. I don't think we're at the end quite yet. I think we still have at least a couple of months to go into early 2022. I'm speculating perhaps Q2, Q3 of 2022. So hopefully that video kind of helped you analyze structures a little bit better, patterns in the charts and everything else. If this video did help you, go ahead and give me a like. If you do want to support the channel and sign up for the safest exchange in Canada, go ahead and click on the link down in the description below. You'll get a sign up bonus as well as I will. And obviously just hold tight because the market is still raring to go. We're still not in the phase of capitulating down quite yet. We still have a little bit more to go before that phase happens. Okay, everybody, that's it for me. I am out of here. Happy hodling.